Today the Church commemorates Saint Benedict, the 6th century abbot and founder of Benedictine monasticism. The Rule of Saint Benedict, which lays down guidelines for the life of monks in monasteries, is one of the most influential texts in Western Christianity, I would suggest. It's a short little book, very worth reading. In the prologue, Benedict writes, "We are about to open a school for God's service, in which we hope nothing harsh or oppressive will be directed." The rule lays down a common rule of life, ordering monastics toward a life of holiness and service to God. But unlike some earlier rules, the Benedictine way is characterized by moderation and reasonableness. A few things jump out at me as I read this. The first is the priority of prayer, and specifically common prayer. Our Anglican spidey sense tingles when we hear these words. The monk's first priority is offering prayer, communal prayer, in the form of the daily offices built around the chanting of the Psalms. In Benedict's rule, there are 8 offices appointed to be sung each day. So we can be thankful that our prayer book only appoints 4. Secondly, the second thing that jumps out at me is the emphasis on obedience, especially since obedience is a bit of a swear word in our culture today. But in the rule, obedience to Christ manifests itself in obedience to the abbot or the head of the monastery and to one's fellow monks. So rather than being constricting, obedience is seen as a path to freedom and joy in the Spirit. Third, the emphasis on work. Benedict writes that idleness is the enemy of the soul. Work, including reading, is seen as a profound good, always checked, of course, by that Benedictine moderation. Fourth, the emphasis on hospitality. Benedict writes that all guests to the monastery should be welcomed as Christ, because he will say, "I was a stranger, and you took me in." One of the great things about the Rule of Saint Benedict is that it can very easily be adapted by individuals or families or groups of people wishing to embrace a Benedictine spirit of prayer and obedience and work and hospitality. In many ways, the monastery can serve as a kind of pattern or template for Christian life lived out in community. Finally, if you want to see the Rule of St. Benedict in action, when COVID is over, I encourage you to visit Westminster Abbey in Mission for a retreat or just a visit. It's a Benedictine monastery out in Mission, BC, and it's a very spiritually enriching experience.